knees. Evan is squatting.
Oh, no.
He's squatting.
I think it was just sitting.
I think not, Evan. I think it's
It looks
squatting.
a little squatty.
Okay.
No. You're calling
I'm
it.
telling you, it is.
All right, so you heard it here. Go check out Canine Services Unlimited.
And we'll put it in the description. Get ready to watch the match.
I think we may have missed the timing on that.
Yeah, pretty sure we missed this, guys.
There's a golden opportunity we missed right there.
And
that's
he knew
my fault.
exactly what was happening.
That's my fault because I saw it.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. Who's ready for a good dragging? Okay, I don't even really know if it's a dragging. It's kind of a fundy dragging, but Carlin Bates is getting dragged on Instagram, and it's because of her dog. And I think we have a lot of questions with fundamentalists and how they take care of their dogs because, you know, dogs in that world aren't always valued. They're kind of outside animals, and Carlin has... People have always questioned her dog ownership skills. And listen, I'm not here to drag anyone. I'm just here to deliver the tea and tell you why people are freaking out on Instagram, because when I looked at her most recent post, I noticed that there were a lot of comments, and then I looked at who was involved and I was like, whoa, let's talk about this. Yesterday, she posted on her Instagram the following. Izzy is going to doggy boot camp for 6 weeks, but Layla isn't quite as thrilled about it as everyone else. And then she tagged Canine Service Unlimited, and it said swipe up. So then the guy that owns this brand, the company, said this. That's so funny, LOL. I felt her eyes burning right through me. We are extremely grateful for the opportunity to work with Izzy. So people were getting a little bit hysterical in the comments. Some of the comments were about dog boarding and whether or not these boot camps really work. So one person said this: if you're too lazy to train a dog properly, then you should not get one. These facilities are known for using dogs. You are paying someone a ton of money to train a dog. Either grow up and train the dog yourself or find a new home for her. Someone else said this: how could you just dump her off for 6 weeks? Take some initiative, responsibility, take her to a dog training classes that you actually get involved with the training. Stop being lazy. Someone else said, maybe you having a dog, a puppy, was not a good idea if you're not willing to train your own pet. Just getting a puppy because they're cute is not advised. There is work and consistency. Simply going to a PetSmart or Petco, they have training classes. I hope all works out for you in the end. Someone else said this: it's IBLP blanket training for dogs. But here I was thinking you and Evan were progressive thinking, and here we are. Someone else said this: I find companies that use choke collars, pinch collars, and electric collars to train an animal to be subpar. And then another person said, puppies are a ton of work. Double the work with when you have a toddler at home. Maybe consider rehoming her to a family that has time to train her and time to spend with her. I have 2 female sister puppies that are a lot of work. My kids are older now and I have time to handle that commitment. That doesn't mean you don't have to love her, but it means you love her enough to place her with someone that has time for her. So people are basically saying that these facilities can use methods that are not recommended for dogs, like e-collars and shock collars and choke collars. And also this idea that she's not going to be with the dog, so she's not going to be training the dog with the people that are training him there. And there was some actual concern about the actual facility. So the facility, which is called Canine Services Unlimited, is run by a guy named Justin Rigney. And in the photos, it looks like and then when you go to the website, it has basic obedience, advanced obedience, aggression, puppy head start, board and train, blah, blah, blah. And it talks about the guy that runs this place. And it looks like he uses some choke collars. And so according to the website, it says that there are in-home and group classes, and then there's ones where you can do board and train. And it says in the board and train, it says our basic program normally lasts 4 weeks and our advanced off-leash program is 6 weeks. Once the dog has completed the program, we deliver them back to you at home. Long distance clients may incur additional fees in the environment where the unwanted behaviors began. We then teach you to maintain what your dog has learned. This is crucial for your ongoing success. Dog training can be a perishable skill if not practiced. If it won't take hours and hours a day, just some simple exercises combined with factoring. So they take the dog and then they have the dog and they bring the dog home and then they teach you how to do things. Now, this is all well and good, except these kinds of facilities are not regulated. And then the guy that runs the facility, he's kind of controversial. He is an officer that was a former canine officer in Palm Beach, and he was let go due to some whistleblowing on how they were treating the dogs, but he also got involved in a fatal incident with a man who was near the end of his life, and he was involved in a wrongful situation where they were suing him and the department paid $500,000 to the man that he ended the life of. And not to mention, he then sued the department and they paid him. So all in all, he has a little bit of a questionable background with his involvement in that end of life thing. He also had 50 incidences of use of force while he was with Palm Beach in California. So 50 times they had to do an investigation into him for using a lot of force. So the other issue that we have is that are these dog camps do they work? Well, according to a trainer, which is called Canine of Mine, they say the biggest issue with these are that you have no control over how your dog is being handled, and it may be in the dark as to what is actually happening to the dog behind the closed doors. So they basically saying that you don't know anything about how they're being taken care of, what kind of food they're getting, like whether or not they're being properly cared for, getting enough sleep, if they're going through any sort of, you know what I'm talking about. You're not learning how to communicate with your dog or interact with your dog. It says training is an ongoing part of life with your dogs and should be as much with human education as it is about dog education. So while some board and train programs have a transition lesson for you to include with the package, it says it won't likely become an ingrained compared to working directly with your dog. Good training requires a strong bond with the dog. So if someone else is training your dog for you, you don't have that bond with your dog. Dog training in general is unregulated. And so people can claim that they're doing things with techniques that are, the best in the industry, but there's really no regulation of this industry. There's no quick fixes to bad behavior, and dogs are not good at generalizing, and that means that the dog will perform certain behaviors in multiple contexts. So they may sit on cue at home in your living room and may sit outside for a new person cues to sit, but at least not until they sit behavior has been generalized, meaning that you've practiced it multiple scenarios and in multiple contexts. So they recommend that you do training with your dog. So going through like a Petco or PetSmart to do your training, and to really just knowing that you have to be able to do this with your dog constantly, and that you should not be using things that have force, trying not to be fear-based, not to use the e-collars, be humane in how you train. I know for us, when we were looking at training at one point, one of the trainers was like, well, we use e-collars and we also use choke chains, and I was like, bye. So they do, some of these training companies, especially the ones that are more board related, they do have situations and scenarios where they are using practices that can hurt the dog. And so this guy, who has a background being a canine officer, who knows? I mean, canine dogs are very, very smart, but this is not a breeder dog. This is not a working dog. She's a tiny little dog that has I don't even know what she is. She looks like a doodle, like one of those little doodles. I don't know what kind she is. So Carlin is getting a lot of heat for this, although she's not really responding to the criticism and the backlash. But I want to know what your thoughts are about all of this. One, do you think these kinds of facilities really are helpful? And two, what do you think about this guy's background? She says that this is a family friend, and so no biggie. And I get it, like cops are involved in that kind of stuff all the time. But 50 instances with use investigations against him while he was on the force, and he also had that incident with the guy that he ended the life of. So all in all, there's some questions around who this guy is as an owner. He was never convicted of anything, and only a settlement was made by the department to the man's family. So he was never convicted of any crimes. And I must say that cops do end up getting involved in having to make these types of decisions while they're in the line, like while they're working. So just because something bad happens doesn't mean he necessarily did anything wrong. But the fact that the agency paid the family, it just makes me feel yucky. And then I'm like, who are they hanging out with? Like, why are you hanging out with someone with that on their record? Weird. They probably think they can save him. All right, you guys, tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.